Hey guys, I'm Wholesome Joe and welcome back to yet another Arduino Proton Pack light and sound tutorial video. This video we're going to learn how to wire up the bar graph. Yes, that is right, the bar graph in the neutrona thrower. This is one of the harder lights to solder. This is why I'm saving it for last, as well as devoting an entire video to it. In order to do this, you're going to need the breakout board that we talked about in one of the very first videos, as well as a 28 segment LED bar graph. I've heard a lot of people saying these are difficult to get right now. I found them on AliExpress. Some people have found them on eBay. If you cannot find a 28 segment bar graph, you may have to end up using Count Demonet's code because he uses two 10 segment LEDs and a completely different breakout board. So if you're using his code, then this is not going to be super helpful. A lot of the same stuff will apply, but I'm using a different set of code specifically for this 28 because it's a more accurate bar graph. And if you can't find one, just keep looking on AliExpress. I've seen them on there. I can also send you a link to where I got these from. If they're still for sale, then you might be able to get them that way. This is relatively easy. If you've been watching all the other videos and following along, you should have a pretty good idea about how to solder now and should be able to do this no problem. All we're going to do is take our bar graph, the pins on our bar graph, and solder them directly to some wires, and then those wires are going to go to the corresponding pins on the breakout board, and I'm going to show you the pin out for where all those go, and then you have your two wires coming off of the breakout board that go back to the Arduino. One is power and the other one is well, no, I think both of these are for data. And then these two, they're going to be your power and your ground. Pretty simple. If you've made it this far, this should be a piece of cake, even though it is one of the more difficult ones. Just a little disclaimer: the audio in the video after this introduction is all going to just be straight from the camera. I was trying to get this video out to you guys as quick as possible, so I just left the in-camera audio in as I'm soldering and doing things, so you're going to hear me ramble, and you're going to hear my 3D printer going in the background, so I hope that you're okay with that. I just wanted to get this video out as quick as possible, so we're going to go through it. I'm going to show you how to do it, and then after this video, we only have a few more videos left where I'm going to show you how to solder all the PCBs and all the components that you need in order to put this in your pack, as well as showing you how I put mine in my pack. You might choose a different method. There's a bunch of different methods you can use, but I'm a couple of steps ahead of you guys, so hopefully I'm going to be finishing my pack up this week, or this week or next, and then I will show you how to do it as well. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so we're on to the final part of the wiring. I went and bought a new soldering iron because the other one is yeah, take care of your soldering iron, folks. And so then we're gonna have this next, which is this 28 segment bar graph. This is what we're gonna put inside the wand for the bar graph. And I'm going to use another breadboard. And then to go along with the bar graph, you need this breakout board. It's HKT something or another. It doesn't even say. No, HT16K33 breakout board. This is going to attach to the bar graph, and then all of this is going to go inside the wand. Now ordinarily I would solder these pins into this board like so I can put them on the breadboard, but because these are really a pain to remove, and I'm going to want to remove them later because there's not enough room in the wand to have pins like this, what I'm going to do is just solder some little wires directly to this. Use those in my breadboard for now, if I even use the breadboard, and then I'm gonna solder the pins directly to this light. So yeah, so we'll look at the diagram so we can see where the wires connect and which pins coordinate with the actual LED. It doesn't have a lot of pins, but if you get these backwards, you're gonna have a lot of problems. And this is probably by far, other than the sound, this is by far the hardest part of the build is this bar graph, because if you make a mistake, it's hard to undo it. And yeah, so just be careful, pay attention to the pin out, and you'll be fine. So basically, we're gonna have to solder wires into these little inputs, holes, whatever you want to call them, so that this breakout board can attach to this LED. And to do that, I'm not going to get fancy. I'm just going to use really short sections of wire, and I'm going to cut off just a bunch of different colors. The colors doesn't really matter, so just use whatever colors you want. Cut off some links, probably about that long, maybe a little bit longer. Yeah, just maybe a little bit longer. Just give yourself a little bit of extra room. You can always trim the other end, and then cut enough for all of the different wire connections you need. And I have this really high-tech diagram that I made that's probably not going to show up on camera, so I'll probably just show it to you on the screen. So I know that I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wires ultimately to connect from the pins to the bar graph. So I'm going to do that and I'll come back. So it's just unpackaged and plugged up my new $5 soldering iron from Walmart. So if you mess up your soldering iron like I did, Walmart has them for really cheap. So does Harbor Freight. Soldering irons are usually pretty cheap anyway. I already tinned the tip of this because I already heated it up. I'm going to try to take better care of this one. Just got really antsy. So now I got all my wires here, 11 of them. And now I'm going to go ahead and do the tedious process of stripping the ends of these.
Strange, sleeping in your bed. Let me tell you something. If there's something weird, sleeping in your bed. Oh, let me tell you something.
Okay. Got my 11 wires all stripped and ready to go. So I'm going to look at my diagram. I'm going to grab my breakout, and I've written, probably won't be able to see this very well, but on the side of this LED I've actually gone through and written the numbers of the pins that correspond to the pins, because there's actually holes for more pins than what is visually present here. So you have to account for where there would be a pin. And I also wrote on the top of the LED, I wrote top to indicate, to let me know what direction the light is going to go in, so that I know that this is the top. So when I put this in the wand, I won't put it in upside down. And I also drew a arrow on the side, as well as more numbers for the corresponding pins. I did this in pencil because I tried a Sharpie, markers, and all kinds of other things, and it just wouldn't stay on it. The pencil can be rubbed off too, but with way more effort than Sharpie, which just kind of came off without me even trying. So yeah, so I got this tip after seeing a picture from a guy from the 3D printed Ghostbusters props group by the name of Chris Rossi. this is what he did on his, and I thought it was brilliant. I'm glad that I saw that, because I would have not wanted to try to do this without having this labeled, because this is where you get in trouble, because if you wire these up upside down or backwards, then it doesn't work. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is I need to see, so I need to look at the diagram, and I know that pin 21 on the LED goes to C0 on the breakout board, which is right there. So it goes kind of like this. I'm trying to decide if I need to do it this way. Alright, I'll be right back. Let me figure this out. So you have your breakout board, and there's numbered pins on it going from C0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then it goes into the A's, and you have A15, 14, 13, 12, 11. And then on the other side you have A10, A9, A8, A7, A6, A5, A4, 3, 2, 1, and so forth, and so on. So the way I'm going to do this, I think, is I'm going to do it this way so that I can see the pins. So I can see the pins. I was going to do it this way. If I do it this way, then I can't see the other side of this, and that'll make it kind of difficult. So I think I'm going to do it this way, and then this will go up just like that. So basically, the first one is C0. So I'm going to find C0 on here, and I'm going to take some wire. I'm going to thread it through C0. Might have to twist it a little bit to do so. C0. Okay, there it is. Then I'm going to put this on my helping hands like so. I'm going to use my alligator clips to clamp that into place. And then I take my soldering iron, apply some solder to this. Like so. There we are. So that is soldered. Now we have a wire coming out of that, like so. So that was C0, and now I'm just going to do all of them.
A few moments later.
If there's something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! If there's something weird and it don't look good, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! Let me tell you something. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Running through your head, who can you call? Ghostbusters! An invisible man sleeping in your bed, oh, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! You had a dose of a freaky ghost, baby, you better call. I can't hear you. You had a dose of a freaky ghost, baby, you better call. Ghostbusters! ghosts. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Don't get caught alone, oh no. When it comes through your door, unless you just want some more, I think you better call Ghostbusters. Ow! Who you gonna call?
A few moments later.
Okay, so I went ahead and put the Bargraph on this breadboard. I had to bend the pins just a little bit to get it to fit in there. Eventually I'm going to solder them all directly to these wires, but for now I'm going to test it before I solder it. So I'm going to just put it on the breadboard and then I'll connect all these. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to go and you're going to look at where you wrote the pin numbers on the side of your Bargraph, and then wire it accordingly.
A few moments later.
So now I have to tin all these wires so I can stick them on my breadboard. Do that real quick.
If there's something strange sleeping in your bed, let me tell you something. If there's something weird sleeping in your bed, oh, let me tell you something. Bustin' makes me feel good. If you're seeing things sleeping in your bed,
There's a ground and a VDD, which is going to be the power. Probably won't be able to see it very well, but it's the same ground, same power as we've been doing this entire time, so it should be pretty easy. I'm going to do it exactly the same way as I did all the rest of these wires, like so. Actually, I'm going to do it like this. Actually, I'm just going to do it like this. And that's pretty straight. Simply solder that guy in there. And do the exact same thing to the ground. On the other side.
something's going on. Something's wrong.
Okay, now that we have our breakout board wired up, we're going to test it. Actually, I should tin these wires first. We're going to tin. We to tin these wires as well. So we'll do that real quick. We have our Bargraph breakout wire. So now it's just a matter of connecting these wires to the proper pins. And we already labeled them. We have our trusty sheet that I made that has all the pins, so I know exactly where they go. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So basically all you're going to do is stick them in the corresponding sides. So if, let's say, pin, it's hard to see because some of it was rubbing off, 13, 14, 15, so pin 13 goes to C2, so I just have to look on this and find the wire that corresponds to C2, which is right there, and plug that in on that side, which is going to be this one. And it can be any of these. You don't have to just put it in the one right next to it. It can be any of the pin holes that are in line, in a straight line going this way to that pin. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to relabel these really quick and I'll be right back.
A few moments later.
And then you're going to have the data, or the two connections that say SDL and SDA. Those are going to go to the Arduino. So I'm going to cut some wire. There we go. And now, to see this sort of, see we have kind of did these backwards. That's okay though. You can really do it from either side. But I have them soldered, and I don't know why I chose to do it that way. Probably because I wasn't paying attention. But they're on there, and that's what matters. And then I also have my trusty pinout diagram that I made. This will be very handy. You can find this in the GitHub, but basically this is going to show me which pins go to which pin on the bar graph goes to which pin on the breakout board. So I'm going to start with number 1, which is this very first one. If you're holding it upside down, it's going to be the very first one on the top, like so. Very first one on the top. And that's going to go, pin 1 is going to go to A1. So then we know we need to take A1 from this guy. It's hard to tell. A1. You gotta make sure you get this right. So triple check if you need to. There's A1 right there. So I'm probably gonna have to make these wires a little bit shorter. So if this is gonna be, you don't remember which one was the top. Ah, the top is right here. So that's going to be the bottom, right? Top, pin 1. Right, so this is top, I think. It's going to go So we're going to solder this wire directly to this pin. Directly to it. Okay, that's one. That was kind of a pain. It seems to have worked. There's the first one. There's number one. Is that correct? We don't know. We'll find out. Alright. And that is not super pretty, but it doesn't need to be. Now, I may need to put some shrink wrap tubing around this, and I probably should have did it beforehand, but I think I can work around it. So just bear with me on that. And there you have it. The Bargraph is now completely soldered to the breakout board and pretty ready to go into the wand. We'll see how that's going to fit shortly.
If you did everything right, then you should have something like this